Thanks. My name is Bill Weyant. I'm a marine surveyor with SAMS, AMS. Today's topics was the air quality control unit that I purchased. I purchased in January 18th of 2021 and have not had the opportunity to use it yet. I have read the manual and I have used it in my house, and I have it right here in front of me. Can people see me?
Yeah, we can
I
see
can't.
this. Yeah, we
I
can.
can't see myself, or can people see me?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, if you want to bring Bill in, can you see Bill in big screen? We've lost your video, Bill. That's
How
better.
about there?
Yeah. If you're not seeing Bill in big screen, you need to pin him. Not literally, don't pin him to the wall, but if you pin him, so if you go into his
Pin me to the wall, huh? I got you.
Is
All right.
everybody cool? Is everybody good? Anybody not?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're good.
All right. So here's the little unit, that you can put in a boat, and mostly we're checking for mold. That's the idea of this thing, to check for mold. People may be allergic to dog and cats, so that would pick up some particles in the boat. Again, I have not used it yet, so I cannot give any information about that as of yet. The other topic I want to throw in here for some surveyors, and everybody's been talking about today that I've heard, is some different technology of soundproofing. And I'm going to give you a scenario. I was in New Jersey a couple months ago doing a boat. It was a Sea Ray 25-foot SLX. And it was doing the sides of the hull. The bottom tapped out nice. The sides tapped okay, but the moisture meter was pegging in certain areas, not like the Silverton, the Chaparral, Monterey, some of the other boats we know that have a discrete line around the boat. When you survey it, you can see the discrete line coming around where they're using different products in the bottom of the hull. So this was a little different. So I went back, the boat wasn't sold because of this item. I even took my thermal imaging camera, and there was no moisture coming out on the thermal. So something was going on weird. So went back to the owner of the marina, and then he got a hold of Sea Ray. And luckily they were pretty good with it. Told him what was going on and said, okay, we'll get back to you. So about a week later, they called him back and said, hey, we have another boat like this in California. Now, this was a 2017 that had the same issues. So then they went back to the manufacturing and back to, everything. So they looked at the products they were using, and there's this product called Quiet Ride Technologies. It's a proprietary product that Sea Ray is using in a lot of these bow riders from 2017 upward to some of these other bigger ones in the sides of the hull to soundproof different things. They mix it within the, if you look at the website, there's a 250, a 25 SLX being made, and it shows how they're putting it in the hull in weird places. It's not in the hull as far as totally in the hull. And actually, it's in the blueprints of the hull sporadically in the hull. So I just brought that up because you've got to be careful out there when you're surveying the sides of the boat and your moisture meter is pegging. You have to understand why. And I think that's probably a good scenario there. So if anybody has any questions with that, you can just, that's a whole nother topic for an hour discussion on these new technologies that they're using in these halls and engine rooms to silent the vibration and the noise for a better ride. So the next topic I have is oil samples adding to the bottom line of your report or your company. So I kind of sell oil samples as part of the survey. I ask the customer, okay, we're going to do a sea trial. We get done, we're going to do oil samples of the transmissions, engines, and generator. Now, this costs X amount of dollars. I charge $70 each, so it's $355. I don't give them too much of an option to bail out of that. I kind of go into the conversation of selling it for that. Now, just to give you an idea, I sold, well, I didn't sell, but I used 210 oil samples last year. That's what I took. Okay, if you do the math, they're $70 each. The charge for overnight is about $5.30 each, but you put 5 in a little container, 5 in a bag in the post office, send it off. Cost per sample is $18. It comes with a little bottle, comes with a hose. If you ask politely to your vendor, it might give you a pump. Pump's not that, it's a little vacuum pump. It's not that hard to do. So a total profit of an oil sample out of the $70 you charge is $46.70. So out of the 210 oil samples, it was $14,700. Cost of the samples was $3,420. And the shipping overnight was $1,270. Okay. Made a profit of $10,000 and 10 cents, or yeah, $10,000 and $10 for my bottom line of my company. So everybody can use the extra money, 10 grand in a year. It only takes you about a half hour to pull them, to package them up and send them off. So if you take it by the hourly rate, I broke it down that far because I know some people go with hourly. It's a half hour. That's 63 hours it took for these 210 samples at $158 an hour. So that's not a bad time for that. I told you this would be short. So this is a no-brainer to take the oil samples, get extra per survey, and samples for extra money for your bottom line. Depends on you and how much you want to do. If you don't want to do them, that's fine, but you're adding a value to your customer to getting results back from them. I overnight them to Motor Check in Florida. And if I overnight today, they'll get it Monday. I'll get the results Monday afternoon. So it's a pretty first class operation they have. The reports are very, very nice. I used to use Auburn Caterpillar up here in Maryland, but they change the processes a little bit, and they don't return them as quick as Motor Check does. See, I told you that'd be the shortest presentation ever. Any questions?
Well, I just to extend it on by another couple of minutes, Bill. You don't know this, but last year you'll recall you spoke about surveyor standards and some of the things that can trip surveyors up, ethics and all of that.
Yes.
I borrowed your concept and I ran it in the UK for a group of surveyors, and it went down really well. We did a role play just as you did. I've forgotten who you did the role play with actually, but what was his name?
Bob Kissinger.
That's it, yeah. And it was great fun, but it just might be worth, we've got lots of people on here who won't have heard that last year. I don't want you to replay it, but 3 or 4 just snapshots, things that surveyors just need to be careful of with the ethics.
A couple things this year everybody knows that the market this year was crazy. Surveyors were out 3 to 4 weeks. I was out about 3 to 4 weeks as well. Turned a lot of business away. I had some customers that would offer me double the money to move them up on the schedule, which is obviously unethical to do. So probably other people have done that, have had that happen to them this year as well. A couple other things. Well, I can't really remember what we talked about on that, but there's a question out there. I can't see the question. What was it?
No, there's a couple there actually. What's the value of the oil test without any history?
Say that again.
What is the value of the oil test without any history?
Okay, the way I sell it to the customer is, if the oils were changed in the generator, engine, transmission, it'll give you a good baseline for the next time you do an oil sample. So winters like right now, we have a lot of boats. I've been busy. Everybody's been busy right now. So some oils have been changed and some have not. So if they've been changed, that's one thing. If there's no hours on the oil, then you could say, well, maybe it won't help with the engine, the internals. However, if you do an oil sample and the oil has just been changed and you get bad results back, that means something catastrophe is happening with internally of the engine. So that has to be looked at. It cannot be overlooked at. So that's how I sell it. If you do an oil sample, it comes back negative with testing of the 10 or 15 things they test, good to go. Then we know the engine internally is most likely good because they check for the coolant, all the metals, water, etc. through the oil samples. Hope that answered the question.
I think so, and I think it answers Kurt's question as well, who says, how much time and detail do you spend explaining to the client? I think you've covered that, haven't you?
Yes, it's part of when they call you and ask you for, they're kind of interviewing you and you're interviewing them for the job, for that. So you put it in your spiel about what year, make, and model of boat is it. That way it gives you determination of how old the boat is. And then you go into your, what the cost is. And then you tell them the process that you're going to take to do your survey, because that's what they're asking. How long does it take? What's the process you do? What do you test? How do you test? And then what's the results? When are you going to get the report back? Report back is within 24 hours of the boat being completed. And then your oil samples are within 24 hours when we ship it off.
And a question here. Well, actually, Kurt says, I'm referring to after you get the sample back. So what dialogue do you have with the client after the samples come back?
Yes. Motor Check sends back the results, nice color coded. It tells you what the percentages are. It also has a document of how to explain it. Most of the time, you don't spend a whole lot of time on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. But you do want to spend some time if it's wacky to explain what the variables are and what to look for. You have to watch now too with a lot of additives that are being inserted into these oils because that will throw a flag up with silicon, especially with additives. So you got to look at that and find out kind of what oils they're using and see what they're being made of.
Bob wants to know, do you also pull oil samples from transmissions, V drives, and generators?
Yes, all the above. Even on Volvo outdrives, usually you can pop the top dipstick and get your tube down in there and take an oil sample of the outdrives. But yes, engines, generator, transmissions, outdrives in some cases, Bravo 3s, Bravo 1s. Well, Bravo 1s you can't, but Bravo 3s, I pull the plug to look and see if there's any milkiness in the bottom of the plug of the outdrive, but I don't take oil samples from the lower units, no. Now, a lot of times too is this, I'm finding out, but a lot of the transmission oils are not changed on a regular basis. So there's pros and cons of that. I've had mechanics tell me that it should be done every year, along with your oil of your engine. I've had other mechanics tell me that it should be done every other year. So I tell them every other year, just to make sure they get it in their head that they have to change it. Some transmissions I've seen have not been changed in many, many moons.
Bob has popped up to say, I caution the buyer that he might expect a cautionary flag on transmission samples, since many owners don't know if the trans were serviced at time of engine service. Estimating hours generally is the same though.
Good statement, correct. You have to be cautious and you have to inform the customer of that. And it tries to help if you can get information on when the oils were changed, but a lot of time going through a broker, they may not know.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Any more for any more? No, I think we've worn them out, Bill.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. It's good to see you. Look
You
after
too.
yourself out there, and we'll catch up in due course. Okay.